This is First Contact, Stories of the Call Center.
Get ready to dial into the exciting world of call centers with First Contact, Stories of the Call Center podcast. Join us as we share stories from industry leaders, explore the latest trends and technologies, and tackle the challenges and triumphs of the contact center landscape. Fasten your seatbelt for a high-energy journey brought to you by Nobel Biz, the one-stop shop for all your call center needs, both in software and service.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of First Contact, Stories of the Call Center. I'm your host, Christian Montes, and today we're super excited to bring Sara Malo. For those who really don't know Sara, let's just kind of talk about some bigger picture stuff around her career. She's not just a leader. She's actually a force of nature when it comes to marketing and partnerships. Look, over 23 years of experience, Sara has really carved out a reputation as a trailblazer, not just for building businesses, but also building relationships that last. She's a VP of partnerships at Lead Generation World, the president and COO at LinkUnite, and also a key figure at Contact.io. Now, that's just really the tip of the iceberg. Today, we're going to be exploring the journey of empowerment, innovation, staying true to oneself in the industry that's really constantly evolving, and also delving into the state of lead generation and partnerships. And then ultimately, we're going to be also talking about the vision for women in leadership and her thoughts on where technology is taking us. Sara, super excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. This is great. When you say 23 years, I'm like, woof, I've been around a long time.
It just means you have a lot of experience, and we're super excited to share that experience today. And now with that said, we always love to start the journey conversation around how did you get to where you are today? I know you didn't wake up one day and say, one day I'm going to work in the digital marketing space or event management or business development. So let's talk about early on. What was your career aspirations? How did you transition to all these different businesses that you're working with today? And, how does that look like?
Yeah, it's so funny because affiliate marketing started in the early 2000s. Nobody even knew what that meant. So I went to college for business administration. I didn't even know this world existed. And so I want to say back in 2001, I launched my own affiliate program for a company I was working with. And again, nobody knew anything about this. It was just different ways that we could drive revenue to the business. And then I attended one of the very first affiliate summit events, which was on a cruise. And I think there was about 100 people. So nowadays they get anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 people. So you can see that, back then how little it was. I just remember meeting a few key people that I still stay in touch with. And I thought, this industry is so unique, so different. Nobody knows it exists. I just need to learn more. So at that point, I kind of started taking search engine optimization classes and anything, related to affiliate and digital marketing. And so I just kind of got hooked at that point. I was like, I got to learn more. I got to stay here. And yeah, it just began. Seems so long ago.
I love that you brought up that it was this industry that no one knew about. And you just really were attracted to the fact that it was so unique and different. And that, in trailblazing early on, you say 100 people and now there's like thousands, right?
Yeah.
For those that really don't know affiliate marketing as a term or even digital marketing, the word and term marketing gets thrown around all the time. It can mean a lot of different stuff. Can you kind of articulate for our audience, what does that actually mean? And really how, if any, has that evolved from when you were starting to now and its importance in the industry, versus just being a nice to have?
Well, just in general, I remember when Affiliate Summit was acquired by Clarion Events and they flew me to London to explain affiliate marketing to their crew that knew nothing about this. I remember saying, when you go on the Gap ad and there's, the Gap webpage and there's ads up on the website, and you click through there, that person will get paid for you if you purchase something. It's kind of very basic explanation. But it's so crazy to me because, like I said, even now, even in 2024, people don't know what affiliate marketing really is and this whole digital industry. It's crazy to me. I think it's evolved. It changes weekly. you have to kind of stay up in the times on what's happening. It's such a cool tool, all the performance marketing tools that we have out there to drive revenue to your business. If you're not an affiliate marketer and you're running a website, you're missing out on a lot of things. You should get better at some of that. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know where the last 25 years has gone and how this has evolved. And now look at the world we're in now. Everybody's on their phones, everybody's on the website. It's just changed dramatically.
Yeah, I think definitely how the consumer has shifted from brick and mortar exclusively and locally,
right,
to now really anywhere in the world at your fingertips in your phone or on your computer. You have the ability to not only make purchases, but become aware of things that you didn't know existed or that you didn't know you needed. And alternatively, for any brand that is out there trying to get their products and services in front of people, it's not just a singular brand doing everything all the time on how they outreach and connect with you outside the world. And so that's kind of where that bridge comes in when we're talking about when you go to a website, you see a banner, or you see an ad, or you see information, or you have a way to get a lot of different brands in front of you for some purpose that you're trying to engage for a service or product. And so with that, it's really important that when people think of this, it's not just like, hey, I just see an ad. That means, to your example, Gap, has an internal team that's doing all that work for themselves, or that any other brand has those things. So let's kind of shift a little bit to the fact that you're really balancing between, or at least I think you're balancing these unique roles, right? You have the one at lead generation role, LinkUnite and Contact.io, and I'm sure among other things as well. But from those three, I'd like to have you share a little bit about what those organizations are.
Okay.
And what you do within those organizations.
Yeah, of course. So Contact.io and Lead Generation World are two events in the industry that are owned. And our CEO, Michael Ferry, he's wonderful. He brought me on as the VP of partnerships to kind of grow those two events. Contact.io, I think it's an event. There's not a lot of competition against that event. It's for call marketing, call centers. We just had it in Denver in August, and it was a huge success. I think I personally see that event out of all the top 6 events in the industry growing dramatically. I can see perhaps a global presence for that event in the next few years. Denver's a great location. We're event people that don't want to go to Vegas. So for all the Vegas haters, or they're just constantly at an event there. But yeah, Contact.io is wonderful. It's growing. Right now, we're working on Lead Generation World, which is happening in Hollywood, Florida, at that big cool guitar hotel. Lead Gen World, that's where Michael started. He's a lead generator, and so we've taken this event and we've kind of made everything that we want to see at an event happen. We've got an awesome expo hall. We've got all the features. And when I say features, we've got the stages and the food and the bar. Everything's in the expo hall. We've got a CEO meetup. We're doing a cool thing this time around called Ask the Experts. So we've got things from search engine, affiliate marketing, pay-per-call, and we've got experts so people can sit down and have one-to-one conversations with these people. We're going to be launching on the event app a kind of a networking session 2 weeks before the event, which is going to be super cool. So our attendees can start networking with each other and having small groups. So yeah, we're, that event's going to be excellent. Again, growing really fast. We used to have Lead Gen World in San Diego, California, and we moved it to Florida for a few years because the business there is just growing. And so I highly recommend people get out to Hollywood in early January. Of course, it's hard to talk about Florida with the hurricanes happening there. So God bless all those people going through that mess. But Florida is just a great state. It's got a lot of business, a lot of lead buyers and sellers. And so it's just a great location for our event. And last but not least, LinkUnite, we, Amanda Ferris, my business partner, and we became very close friends, I would say about 12 years ago. She was working for Leadspedia, and she was a client of mine. And we just kept saying, man, this industry is so male dominated. We need to do something to kind of help the women grow in this space. And that's really how LinkUnite was born. We kind of took a napkin in Boston and started making, a list of women that we knew in the industry that we were connected with, reached out to them, do you want to be part of something like this? And then boom, it just took off. We have in-person events. We do happy hours. We have a mentorship program. We're doing a lot of job placing. In our membership program, we have a private Discord. So women, it's like a vetted network. So women are able to go in there and do business together. And so it's been wonderful. We're getting more women up on stage, which is a huge change in this industry. I mean, we used to go to events and there was not one woman speaker up on stage. So, and it's just been great for women. It's just a support group, and it was so needed in this industry. And I can just see us growing from here on out.
That's great. There's so much to unwrap into those two buckets, right? The bucket of what we'll call events and shows and, education, and bringing vendors and potential customers, brands, businesses together and to collaborate and hopefully produce something special. On the other side, obviously, when it comes to LinkUnite, is an industry, yes, very much so when I walk around, to see over time the balance between who's speaking, who's the heads of certain companies, who are you engaging with at booths or even interacting with in sales and any other roles, especially technical roles. So let me kind of start with the event side of it, right? Don't want to put you on the spot, but, as a vendor as well, and, companies that also purchase products and work with other vendors, there's always been this interesting dynamic at events of balancing the cost, time, effort that people put into attending these events, whether you're on the attendee side or the vendor side, and then also the value proposition. What do you actually leave these shows with that makes you go, that was worth it? I can't wait for the next one. Or, wow, they really blew me away. I didn't expect it to be that good. And every once in a while you run into shows and that's the case. And you're like, wow, this is really cool. And so there were some neat things you were talking about prior to the event and at the event that allows for these opportunities for, it's not just, oh man, let's just put everybody in the expo hall and let's just kind of have a free for all. And it's like, oh man, I'm walking through, the shark pit right now. All these people are just trying to get me. And how do we find, or how do you see feedback in what you're doing aligning with that dynamic of how do you get what the attendees really want at these events and to leave feeling like this was worth it? And at the same time, vendors who spend a lot of time, money, effort as well to attend these, to also feel like, yeah, that wasn't a waste of time. Yeah. That was a great use of our marketing dollars or otherwise. You can obviously dive in deeper into the stuff you said, but I'm sure you have heard or seen or even experienced that kind of stuff. What's going on there? What do you see trend wise? And, what do we see that we could find a better mix or balance going forward?
Yeah, well, that's a lot of things there. And one, it's, events are tough, right? I mean, right now there's a lot more people having events. So we need to kind of be thinking outside the box. On the attendee side, we're trying to keep the attendee passes at a lower price. Mike and I are always up for giving out a discount, making sure, hey guys, register. We got early bird pricing. And then we kind of walk through our event through the attendee eyes, right? What do they want to see? What do they want to gain from our events? Obviously the networking piece, they want a return on their investment. And they want to, it's the experience. They want to have a good experience. They want to be able to talk to vendors and people that they can actually do business with. And that's, we keep our events, I wouldn't say on a smaller scale, but when you're talking about an event that has like 1,500 people, something like Lead Gen World, you're really keeping that to where the attendees are actually able to make those decisions. So you're not going to an event where you're going into a room of, 7,000 people and you're trying to weed through like, who can I do business with? And Mike works really hard on that attendee side. We offer a lead buyer pass at a lower rate so we can get some lead buyers. We're constantly going out and recruiting brands to come to our events. And then, on the exhibit side, I sit here and talk to my clients, daily about different ways and that they can exhibit at our events. What are the best practices? What are the best things to be doing at our events? So that they can get a return, because honestly, just the past few years, people are actually tracking what's happening at events, which is totally new. Companies would just send their entire sales and biz dev teams, go out there, go to every happy hour, go this, go that, get as many business cards as you can. And hopefully we get some, sales out of it. It's very different now. They're very cautious about what they're spending at events, whether it's a booth or a sponsorship, or they're just, sending their team. We've just seen a big shift. So they're not just coming to the event to party or go to these happy hours and hang out with people that they know in the industry. They really need to come out with solid leads. And so that makes us go out and, okay, how can we do things differently? Like I said at the beginning, they ask the experts. That's huge, right? Because we're trying to teach. Mike does a great job with the content at the events, because it's not sponsors getting up on stage selling their product or brands selling their brand. It's actually teaching the industry. We want you to come and learn and be able to bring those tools back to your business. Mike and I, especially out of all the event organizers, this isn't about a money thing. Obviously, we need to be paid for our work, but we really take value in somebody coming to our event and calling us up a couple of weeks later. Man, you guys, that was excellent. I did so much business there. I got many leads. I've got revenue coming in from your event. That's what we want. We're trying to give back to the industry and provide this event so you can do business there. So a lot of things are changing. I think location is key. Like I said earlier, people don't want to go to Vegas anymore. People are very cautious about how many people they're putting on airplanes and having, booking hotel rooms for. So we're definitely seeing a shift, which makes our work gets harder, right? Because we need to provide something that no other events are providing. And so, we really work hard on the networking stuff and the learning aspect. We want you to be able to learn. So our agenda is massively full of, if you're not coming here to Lead Gen World to network and learn, then you're not leaving your hotel room, because we're offering so much. It's just going to be jam packed and excellent. I can't wait.
Running a contact center these days takes a great deal of courage and fortitude. Nobel Biz would like to salute the contact center community for not giving up and working hard to drive their businesses down the road to success. As the promise keepers of the industry, our goal was to provide one of the most versatile and cost-efficient omni-channel solutions on the market. Nobel Biz Omni Plus is a cloud contact center software that gives instant access to a full range selection of channels, from voice calls, two-way SMS, email, WhatsApp, Twitter, Telegram, among others. Our solution offers complete control over the externalities by switching from an on-premise technology to a cloud-based solution in just a matter of hours. Get integrated compliance support, advanced reporting, seamless agent and supervisor dashboards, and many more performance-enhancing capabilities, all in just one product. Nobel Biz Omni Plus, the future-proof solution for scaling contact center operations. Learn more about Nobel Biz Omni Plus at www.nobelbiz.com.
Yeah, I love how you are really trying to take that vision of the attendees' journey and also the vendors' journey. How and where can they intersect with value? And that's awesome. I'd say as a vendor and one that has participated in both events, I'd say that I agree that it is very much about education, networking, and less about how many people you send, but more of how much can you add value when you're there.
Right.
And that ultimately pays dividends on when you leave. Those relationships, you have a stronger sense of who you're talking to versus leading with a bunch of business cards that won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That they don't mean anything. They're
So
just
true.
trying to move on to the next warm body.
Yeah.
So that's great to see and hear. And I look forward to hearing how the next event that's coming up in January works out, because I think you're going to have some really cool stuff that you're putting in play that'll make sense. One of the things I wanted to shift to around LinkUnite is, it's really been described as a place where egos are left at the door, right? To foster this genuine collaboration. We talk about collaboration and partnership all the time, and I think they get overused and they don't really mean what they mean anymore. So can you kind of share a story from your side that encapsulates the impact of this philosophy on building strong relationships?
Yeah, of course. When we came up with the whole ego left at the door, people were kind of confused what we meant by it. And so I always tell the story of early on in my career, and I was making calls to clients and trying to develop partnerships. Nobody wanted to take a call from Sara, the sales executive. So no matter what, I started to say, "Hi, I'm Sara Malo. I'm the CEO of whatever company I was working at." And I noticed that when I said I was the CEO or the president, I was getting people to actually take my call versus what my actual title was. And so we're kind of trying to change that, right? We want people to be able to do relationships no matter what your title is, how many years you've had in the industry. Just give everybody a fair shot right off the bat. And so when we say that ego's left at the door, we really just want everybody on the same playing field. It's very hard for women to have that. We're still fighting out. I wouldn't say fighting. That's a terrible word, but we get these women that come to us, Sara, we really want to be part of LinkUnite. We want to have a corporate membership, but my male CEO just doesn't see what you guys are doing. And so Amanda and I spend a lot of time getting on phone calls with these male CEOs to explain, listen, we're going to help your female staff do business, right? We're going to give them the connections. We're going to make these introductions that they need so that they get the call answered when they're calling to talk to somebody. And we've already, in just a few years, we've made a world of difference with that. So it's just, I think things are changing for the better. I think there's still struggles for all of us, not just women. But it's definitely changed. I think people are taking women more seriously now, and we're able to, we've got women that have started businesses after they've attended LinkUnite events. So now it's like, we're showing everybody, this is for real. We can also do this. So it's exciting times to see the change.
Yeah. There's some really important nuggets in what you said around the conversation about education and collaboration among peers that have a similar journey or experience, and then being able to say, this is how I achieved success in spite of these challenges, these barriers, these things that are keeping you from, upward mobility or happiness in your role, or being able to figure out how do you just learn your role and become excellent in it. And when you have a community, right, to be able to have conversations about someone's journey, what they're struggling with, what they did really well at, and how they got there. It's really important, regardless of, age, sex, gender, so on and so forth. But specifically when I look at, I have a daughter, my wife, sister-in-law, sister, just surrounded by women. I always look at it and I see, there's always strong women that surround me and very opinionated and very strong in their will. At the same time, I do see a lot of chances and opportunities that, get missed because there's this dynamic of, if you don't know what you don't know, if you don't have a way to search for that information, a way to get guidance in that area, or even a safe place to have a conversation, that sometimes many of us feel vulnerable and weak when we ask for help. To get over that hump is really important to find success, whether it's through mentorship or peers being able to share stuff. So in your talk about being able to have the, hey, I want to participate, but I'm not allowed to, right? And you have to have those conversations. What kind of tangible stuff, if anything, comes out of those conversations that you can say versus just saying, well, it's not fair, or why don't you? Or you should do this anyways because it looks good. Like, are there things where when someone's put their heels on the ground and say, like, I don't see the value, forget their perception of whether it's important because of some negative thing, but just from a business perspective, when you have to have that conversation, is there something that you're able to say that tangibly you've seen better improvement in performance, upward mobility, you're able to see a better cross section of different viewpoints? Like, is there anything you've been able to see as success stories when you have those tough conversations?
I would say performance is a great one. A lot of the advice that I give to these women that are calling us on a daily basis is, prove yourself. You don't want to be that poor me. I didn't get a fair shot because I was up against this or that. And we're also teaching women to show up, to just show up, right? And that seems so simple, but it's not a simple thing. Whether it be at the events, at happy hours, or it's a call or a webinar, you might have a client that's, doing a podcast or something, show up and have them see that you're there supporting. There's so many different things, so many tools and things that we offer women and advice, but they have to go out there and do it, And so it's, we've just had so many different stories, so many people, whether changing jobs and, didn't get that promotion. I mean, we're constantly up against things, and believe me, Amanda and I don't know. We don't have the answers to everything. But it's showing up and being a good person goes a long way. And so that's what kind of our motto is and what we're teaching everybody, and to not feel sorry for themselves and, try to explain, maybe put in that extra time, a couple more hours a week, or, throw in some weekend hours just to prove that, hey, I'm here. I'm trying to do my best. I want that same level of respect. And so it's, we're still learning too.
I hope this isn't controversial, and I don't mean it to be, but I've heard over my career and even within my family and friend circles, and I'm going to paint a broad brush here. There's always exceptions. This is by no means like a majority type thing, but I've experienced many times when I see upward mobility, there's this dynamic around a strong personality that is always asking for promotions, asking for raises, saying, I deserve more, I want more. And let's forget for a minute the idea that they actually are really good at their job and they're really good candidate for that upward mobility. But just the personality of being able to say, I work hard, I want more. I want that promotion. I want this, I want that. I'm willing to go and hop jobs because this job doesn't give me what I want. I'm going to go to that other company. And other personalities that may be less like, hey, I'm going to work really hard. And hopefully if the company appreciates me enough, they're going to notice that. And then they're going to offer me the promotion. They're going to offer me the raise. Do you see anything in the conversations or situations that you run into at LinkUnite specifically when you're looking around the group of women that want more upward mobility, want more raises? Is there ever anything in there that is general enough to say like, hey, you got to know your self-worth. You need to know you're valuable. You bring something important to the company. And even if the company doesn't say something like that or do something proactive like a promotion or giving you a raise, you sometimes have to take it upon yourself to say, I'm worthy. I'm going to go and get what I want. And if this company isn't going to do that for me, I have to go somewhere else. And even if that means leveraging your network, do you run into that at all? Is there any truth to, some of those pieces, or, is that just kind of some of the things that, I've heard from others or I've seen myself?
No, that's totally true. And we've also had some very tough conversations with women that think that they should be promoted when they're not doing the work, right? And so it's, just because you're a woman and just because you're part of LinkUnite or whatever, doesn't mean that you're going to just rise to the top. You have to put the work in. I guess you have to take a hard look at yourself. I tell that to the women a lot. It's different now. I don't want to say how old I am or my generation, but we were taught, or we had to work hard. I was in a blue collar family. My parents went to work. I had older siblings. I had to do a lot of things extra in my family, and so it's just in me to work hard. And I want everything that I have my hands on to be successful because I had a hand in making it successful. And so, we have some younger women that we're kind of training, because that's what happens. They are bouncing around, and that's not the best thing either, right? The grass isn't always greener, in another company. And if you're not putting in the work, if you're, working 20 hours a week, what do you expect? You're not going to get that raise or that promotion. So it's just a lot of teaching and learning that we offer. At this past LinkUnite event, we spent an entire day just doing different topics. And this was something that we talked about having to put the work into the job, and things aren't just going to come easy. I mean, I forget that Rocky quote about the world not being all rainbows, because it's not, and you shouldn't expect it to be, just because you're a woman doesn't mean things are going to come easier to you. You have to put the work in just as hard as the next person. So we do have a lot of hard conversations. There's been a lot of tears at our events, a lot of people breaking down and then realizing, what, you're right. I do need to put some work in, and I need to do some self-reflecting. And so, yeah, I mean, and it's not a gender thing, right? I feel like that's for anybody. It's just, it's a different world. It's a little bit competitive, especially in this industry right now, because with the compliance and all the changes happening, you got to really know your stuff and put the time in.
Yeah, I think no matter how you take everything you said, woman, man, gender, race, you have to put the work in, right? You have to be able to find a way to be invaluable, right? Find a way that, in spite of all the challenges, to add so much value in what you do. And that doesn't mean give up who you are, or it doesn't mean to be a rug that everyone just, walks all over you. But it does mean that you find those things that are different or unique for your ability to add value. And when you do that, I would say take it to the next step, which is also know that value, know how to explain that towards when you want a promotion. Why do you deserve the promotion? What value do you bring? And be confident about it. Know that you are important, you are valuable, and that if that company doesn't appreciate you, then that's not going to change by asking for something that's reasonable. Now, if you're asking for the moon and it's way off whack, then it shows that you probably don't understand your role and what you're asking for. And so being able to understand what the market is for your position, what you want to do, and the value you bring, and being able to articulate that is really important, because a lot of times, unfortunately, I do see a lot of people that just don't ask. They don't sit. They just wait for a promotion. They wait for that. So let's kind of shift a little bit over to the fact that, you had mentioned compliance and a lot of changes in lead generation. And we're going to see some big changes come January. And we're going to see and have seen a lot of changes, not only in competition and regulation. So what are the things that you say are really big shifts that you're seeing or will be seeing that are going to be critical to being successful in that space, let's say between now and the next 3 to 5 years? I know you can't, have a crystal ball, but what are the tea leaves saying?
Yeah, I'm shocked that people are not taking this compliance stuff as serious as they are. We, at the last LinkUnite, we had Michelle Schuster, who's amazing, do a panel talk about compliance, and there were still so many women in the room, and we're talking CEOs that are still not following what's happening. And so I just think that's nuts, because I feel like I could get on 8 webinars today and learn about compliance. It's just everywhere. It's if you're not paying attention, you're crazy. I think that you need to be compliant. You got like the third-party cookies changing. You've got AI making a difference in things. I guess, in my opinion, if you're not paying attention and staying with the times and what's changing every day, then you're crazy. Your business is probably going to be gonzo come next year, to be frank and honest. There are so many changes. It's hard to keep up, particularly on them. And, LinkUnite's a different kind of a business. So, obviously we have things that we stay compliant for, but we're not a call center. We're working, my clients at Lead Gen World and Contact.io are the call centers and, the lead generators. And so my advice to them is just, man, you need to stay educated. You need to know what's happening out there. And if you're not, good luck. And actually, I talked to, I wrote this down because I wanted to mention it. Colby, do you know Kurt Snyder over at Colby Group? They just launched a new newsletter, and it's called Lead Gen Insider. And I think it's coming out. The very first one's coming out next week. But what I love about it is they're talking honest truths. They're talking about compliance and what's really happening out there. They're not sugarcoating things. So I'm excited to keep, read about that and see what's happening truthfully, So it's because a lot of times some people can get the wrong information. So that you got to be aware of all of that.
A famous African proverb says that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. At Nobel Biz, we have made it our mission to travel far and wide with our partners and clients. As a complete telecom services provider with over 20 years of experience in the industry, Nobel Biz offers the only voice carrier network designed with the sole purpose of serving call centers around the world. This contact center dedicated carrier network provides crystal clear voice traffic, up-to-date compliance tools, intelligent routing, and highly secure data protocols combined with 99.9% uptime and easy setup. Our goal for 2022 is to become the ultimate partner and provider for the contact center industry by placing service quality at the top of our priority list. To top it off, at Nobel Biz we have the most competitive cost per minute model in the industry. Need proof? Reach out to us and learn more about the Nobel Biz Voice Carrier Network at www.nobelbiz.com.
Yeah, I think you're spot on when you say that you really have to learn this stuff. And to do so, we've used the term for a long time, being a student of the business, right? I love that genuine curiosity approach to things, is that it doesn't matter if you've been in the industry for 1 year or 30 years. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you've done 10 different jobs or been in the same one the whole time. If you really want to make an impact, you have to know that everything's changing. Right. It's ever changing. There's always new regulations, new technology, new ways that different groups learn and how they're motivated and how they're able to be engaged. And especially in a world today where, since the pandemic, there's a lot more remote work or hybrid work than there was in the past. And so how do you maintain engagement? So that education is huge, not only for the individual, but I think from a leadership perspective, it's very top down. The company has to have an edict of there has to be subject matter experts in the business that don't live in an echo chamber of just the company, that they really truly go out to LinkUnite and network. They go to these events like Contact.io to network and learn, and then bring back those things and go test them. Don't just go get information. Cool, that's great to know. And then you leave it in a notebook, you leave it in your computer. You just go back to doing what you were doing all along. Go and leverage easy wins, places that you can go implement stuff you've learned and measure it. See if it's working, and then tweak it, and then modify it, and then adopt what works. But a lot of times we're creatures of habit. Change is hard. And, compliance isn't something, as much as, the attorneys may say they love, the law and the compliance. The reality is it's a cost. Mm-hmm. It's a cost to the business. Yeah.
Well, how many companies now have compliance officers? That wasn't a job a few years ago. You know what I mean? That wasn't even in existence, not so much like it is now. Companies are hiring compliance officers to keep up to date with all of it. So it's no joke.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You mentioned AI, right? And gosh, that is just the buzz term. Right. And it means so many things to so many people. So from your perspective, what are you seeing when it comes to AI in the space of, let's say, lead generation, digital marketing, affiliate marketing, where is AI coming into play that you're seeing people going, this is actually something cool and real versus, yeah, we were promised the world and it doesn't do anything like what we were told it does.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tool. It's a tool. And like any tool, you got to use it properly. We love it. We use AI for like our event agendas. We use it to tweak some social posts. I mean, we're not, using like ChatGPT to write everything because we like that personal side of it. But I think it's awesome. I think it's an excellent tool. And if you use it properly, you can help your business, help what you're doing. I mean, especially in the events side of things, it helps us with our, like I said, with the agenda, with the speakers, what they're going, what they have to do and the topics. It helps us come up with some more creative, topics that people want to discuss. What scares me about AI is the voice AI stuff. Because I had a client of mine who was coming to our event. Oh, Sarah, all these phone calls that you have, for partnerships on a daily, we can just set your voice up to call them. And I'm like, no way, absolutely not. I'll never do that. Because I think that for me, the reason why I've grown so much in this industry is because it's been me. I've been personal with these people. And so that's the one thing that kind of makes me nervous. But, I think, like I said, it's a tool. I think people, they kind of blow it out of proportion, in my opinion. I do see it's machine, as machines taking over, people are afraid they're going to lose their jobs. But personally, I think it's great. I think it's helped us marketers do some things quicker, more efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't have said it better when it comes to technology being used in the right way, right? It can be super important and impactful. I mean, you look at human history, right? You had human beings turning knobs on the assembly line to build a car. Now you have machines doing it. Does that mean that zero people work in automotive or manufacturing? No, it just means that they had to get upskilled. They had to learn the technology, the software, how to repair the machines, right? How to build machines to repair the machines, right? And so in the contact center space, in the lead generation space, where you find the balance of that fear you have, where it's like, no, there's this human touch. There's this personal part of Sara that's been successful, right? That's not a machine. That's me. But I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that you do, right? And you described it earlier, that is repetitive. It's things that you really don't need your uniqueness to be able to accomplish. That way, that special part of you can focus more of its time on those areas that are exponentially more valuable than those things that are just super repetitive, right? Like you're just repeating something that is like a disclosure, or you just need to be able to take some inputted information or transcribe it, right? You're not going to just sit there and hand transcribe it. Why wouldn't you let the system take that audio and transcribe and maybe do something with it? And so it's kind of cool that, you see, and I'll tell you right now at this last show, I did see a lot of the voice bot, voice agents, artificial voice systems. And I'm curious to see how that moves forward, right? Where that works and where we can empower agents when they do have conversations to be that much more powerful with the tool sets that are at their disposal in real time.
Right. We're using too, we like for when leads come in, both for LinkUnite and lead gen and contact, we are using some automation to reach out to qualify it, which has been huge for me because we just started doing that this year. And so it's kind of qualifying the lead for me before passing over whether or not it's somebody that we want to work with or have a partnership with. So that's been a change and something that I fully trust, because a lot of times you've got bots going out there on your forums filling in nonsense, and it's a lot of wasted time. So goes back to, it's a tool, use it properly, use it to help, time management.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the last show, there was a talk around, implementing this kind of stuff. And one of the big themes is what are you trying to accomplish first, right? what are you trying to achieve and how are you going to measure it versus this is a cool new shiny object. Let's go put it in because if we don't do it, we're going to be left behind. And I think like most people, right, when the first chat bots on web chat and even IVRs, when you get stuck in them and you get frustrated or you get lost in it, and now when you talk to a human being, you're just so frustrated and so upset, it's because it was poorly implemented. You weren't thinking about the customer and their experience. And so I think you're spot on. As long as you can find the balance between the uniqueness that you bring as a human and where the tech can empower you or take off stuff that, you probably don't want to do, or you don't think it's efficient use of your time, is super important. We kind of touched about remote work a little bit, but I'd love to kind of get your opinion specifically from what you're seeing in the market, but also from like an events perspective and even this idea of less people traveling. This hybrid work remote environment isn't so much centralized anymore where you have a singular office or just offices and everybody works there. And with so many people now being remote or being hybrid in some way or another, where do you see that affecting, impacting how partnerships are built, how collaboration works, how you're able to get people to events? Has it been harder, easier? How do you see that in the future? And then ultimately from your attendees and vendors perspective, has that impacted how you approach and collaborate and partner with them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a full supporter of remote work. I've been remote since day one in this industry, so clearly I'm going to support it. You have to give extra effort when you're remote. I tell people, you have to bond with your partners, your clients in other ways than just the business side of it. I spend a lot of time getting to know my partners, their personal lives, their families, things that I know that they like to do, so that when we do hop on a call, hey, how are your kids doing? How was that baseball game? Whatever it might be, making that personal connection. So I work extra hard. For me, because of my work, I'm available 7 days a week. I've got clients globally. I've got people all over the world. So you're dealing with different time zones. You use LinkedIn and Skype and Telegram and, all these other tools to communicate. And so I just feel like it's putting the time in and being personable, showing up. Like I said earlier in this call, I see it as a great thing because I feel like remote workers, I mean, you're hitting a global, you can get the best talent, right? You can go out there and get the best talent because you're not just in your particular state or town or city. It's a little bit more difficult on the event side because since COVID and stuff, there's definitely, it's picked back up, the travel piece of it, but we're finding that companies are sending less people and they're trying to figure out how to teach those people to do the work of maybe 2 people do the work of 10 people. And so I guess it's just getting out there and getting the industry to know who you are. So you can walk in a room. Oh, that's Sara. I know, okay, she's at Lead Gen. She does this, she does that. And again, I put work into that. You know what I mean? I constantly am out there posting things or being available, having conversations. And I've been working remote for over 20 years. So it's definitely doable. I know a lot of people struggle with it. You have to be extremely organized and kind of don't get distracted by the other things that you can get distracted by. But I think it's wonderful. I think, you look at like all the call centers. There's call centers that people are working with all over the world, and I also think that's cool too, having conversations with people in different countries, kind of get to know their cultures and things like that. So it's, I'm 100% for remote work. It's worked best for us. And I kind of live the best of both worlds because I'm home working, but I also travel to the events a lot. And so I get to see people in person at the events and happy hours and things like that. So.
Yeah, it's really neat that from an engagement standpoint, that's one of the things that we always want to measure is, how engaged is the staff, our attendees, our vendors, across the board. Is it just going through the motions or are they really genuinely engaged? And one of the things that helps with engagement is what it drives people, what kind of incentives or things that are important to them. So kind of that idea of knowing your customer really, and, whether it's your attendee, your vendor, or your staff in a call center, whatever it may be. And remote work has given a unique opportunity for those that didn't do it to be able to incentivize those that perform and do really well in remote work to be able to earn remote work by performance. And those that really want to work in an office and have that more community, physical, water cooler, look at your neighbor, have conversations, then you can now start to find a balance between the type of staff that you have instead of just painting a broad brush and saying you're all one or the other. And so that's really neat as well. We are starting to run out of time and the conversation's been great, but I want to shift a little bit to the personal side, if that's okay. You really talk about the importance of self-branding. How has that personal brand evolved through your career? And for all those that are listening, what kind of advice would you give to others looking to establish themselves and build a brand for themselves?
It's funny because when I first started in the industry, I remember going to, whether it be events or happy hours, and nobody knew me. I was a nobody. Half the time I didn't get the invite. I was the person sneaking into these, where they're checking in. I'm going around the corner. And I thought to myself, the only way I'm going to make it in this industry is if people know who I am, what I have to offer. And so I've been kind of an open book, whether it be on social media or in public. I kind of told my story, the struggles. People want to know that I'm a real person. I was actually talking to somebody last week, actually a couple of weeks ago when we were at Elevate in London, and this woman comes up to me. She was like from Israel. And she's like, I can't believe you're real. She's like, I read your coffee posts on Sunday and I didn't even think you were a real person. And I'm like, no, I'm 100% real. And I think that just, we're all here on this earth, our struggles, own your path. Not everybody's path is the same, but I've branded myself just to be, this is who I am. I'm a single mom. I'm raising teenagers. I've got 25 boys coming over tonight for a pasta party, my son's soccer team. I've got pasta stuff everywhere. I'm real, and this is what real life is about, but I'm able to juggle and be able to be present in everything I do, both work and my personal life. And so that's kind of what I teach people, and give yourself a break once in a while. Not everybody's perfect. You're going to have bad days and it happens, but yeah, I've just been an open book, kind of told my story from day one. And from that, it's just, I've connected with so many different people because I've been honest about my own struggles and things that I've gone through in the industry.
Yeah, that's a really brave thing to do, not only in personal circles, but in the world of digital, right? In social media, there's phones recording probably something somewhere at an event, right? So to be able to share your vulnerabilities, the challenges, the things that, really have been part of your journey and shaped who you are, it's not easy for a lot of people, right? And building a brand, right? And being able to have that brand to be something that other people can connect with, and to be able to say like, yeah, I could learn something from them, or I like them, or I could see myself having, a coffee or a drink with them, or whatever it may be, right? Is that world is sometimes we like sitting in our little bubbles. We like to go to work, be done with our work, leave work at work, and go home and do our routines, right? But there's also those of us that know that unless we have a personal brand, regardless of how big it is, but there is some brand that you're building, you're also, for the next job, for that promotion, for, that raise, you're competing, whether you like it or not, with other people. And the other people, it is, yes, your skill set in the role, but also, do you stand out? Do you have a uniqueness to you? Do you have something that makes someone go, I remember Sara? And whatever that means for that. So in your world, obviously, you mentioned you work 7 days a week. How do you balance these three roles and life?
It's people think I'm absolutely nuts because I'm heavily involved in my community too. I have a lot of energy. I get up very early in the morning. I love the mornings. I get up, I hike my dogs, I catch a sunrise just about every morning. And then I kind of, when I'm out there in the hiking trails and in the woods, I can say, okay, this is what I kind of got to do today. I kind of break everything up. I got to do this for Lead Gen World. I got to do this for my kids. I got to do this. And I want to do it as best as I possibly can. So I'm going to organize my time. I'm going to work 2 hours on this and 2 hours on that. I love what I do. That's probably what makes me a little different than most, right? There's never a day where I'm like, oh my God, this sucked. I hated this work. This call stunk. I really, truly love it. I love Mike and Amanda and everybody that I get to work with in this industry. I just love what I do. I love helping businesses grow and being able to, hey, come to our event because you're going to get this out of it. And then the women of LinkUnite, all the things that we've done to help them. I just, I can kind of lay my head down at night and be like, I did good today. And, I'm the type of person, I want no regrets in anything, whether it be work or my personal life. I want to say, you know what, I gave it my all. I did everything I could for that particular person or company and just feel good about it. And I just truly, like I said, I just love what I do. I'm grateful and lucky in that matter,
What something that really struck out at what you said is that self-awareness that you have of accomplishing something, adding value, feeling like you left it all out there. A lot of times, like I mentioned earlier, we get in the routine of just stuck in the rut. Today's Monday. Oh, Monday sucks. Oh, today's Friday. It's the weekend. Oh, it's hump day. I've made halfway during my week. It's this like thing to get to the next thing where it feels like you're more in the moment. You're more in that day. You're accomplishing something. You've set aside time for something. And each of those things have value, whether that's your walk, that's your ability to say, this is what I need to do for this job or role. This is what I need to do in home. You mentioned, with the pasta and the kids and soccer and everything. And so you're very aware and you have a conscious decision that you make every day to make the best of that day, even when it's not a good day, even though when it is tough, you're not allowing to just have the day happen to you. You're trying to figure out what can you do to impact that day. And that's awesome. Now, I loved our conversation. I hope you did as well. There's going to be people that want to connect with you for just connecting with you personally or any of the organizations we talked about with LinkUnite, Lead Generation World, and Contact.io. How do people best get a hold of you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Skype. People are, we have our cell phones on all of our websites. So, people can call and text me if that's what they're comfortable with. I would say that Amanda Ferris and I are probably the most accessible humans in this industry. We're everywhere. So I would love to reach out, if I can help anybody in their career journey or, give them advice on what events to attend, what vertical events to attend. I'm always happy to lend a hand.
That's awesome. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining the show. For our audience, please connect with Sara, share your thoughts on the episode and all the great work that she's doing. And don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and stay tuned for next episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me in this episode. If you're loving the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button on your YouTube channel for exclusive clips, webinars, workshops, and bonus materials. And if you're an Apple iTunes listener, we'd greatly appreciate a 5-star rating and review to help spread the word. On our YouTube page, you can also leave us feedback, comments, and suggest future guests that you'd like to hear from. For even more valuable insights and information on the call center world, visit nobelbiz.com and access our on-demand webinars. I'm Christian Montes, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of First Contact Podcast. Stay with us for the next exciting chapter.